We are good. Hey, Lana, how are you?
Hi.
Lana and I we were just talking a few minutes right before the show about how exhausted, we are with the news and how it can be head spinning.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Now we understand why people have a hard time following what's happening because it's a lot.
We've talked about that. And it can get, I don't want to let that be an excuse for, not knowing the truth about things, but it can get exhausting. It's funny is we have so much stuff to get to. And I was reading an article by the New York Times, and it was basically asking a bunch of questions. What could happen? Could Trump run if he's convicted? Can he vote? What happens if he's elected from prison? Or what if a case is still pending? And half the answers were like, we have no idea.
Right.
And I'm like, well, why don't you know?
Right. I'm looking for answers.
Can we figure it out before all of this happens? Wasn't there a Supreme Court ruling recently that was based on a hypothetical situation? So let's rule on all this stuff on hypothetical situations and get it out of the way. Am I wrong?
Right. Wait, have we started the show or not?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
I love that you did not know that we were on the show. I gave you the
little. I know we were live.
Yeah.
But excuse me, everyone. We just get into it and we go straight to the meat of everything.
100%.
Welcome to the Black and White Show. If you're new here and you don't know what you're watching, this is the Black and White Show with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest.
That is correct. And Lana joined us about 15 seconds ago, even though we started 2 minutes ago, which is awesome. I love it. This is Lana just I just hit play. Let's go. I don't care about any of this bullshit.
Oh, is this not like a short intro? We're just we're just doing
it. just going at it. So, but yeah, that's how delirious we are. We're nuts. We have no idea what's going on. You hit play and then whatever comes out.
That is true because I don't know how to talk anything other than politic talk. Even at work, I'm like, I need to shut the fuck up sometimes because everyone doesn't have the same politics as me. And I am always ready. Like this woman talking today about the economy and how the economy is just so bad. And I wanted to just be like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Right? You dive deeper. Just don't be like, this is so expensive. It's the economy. That's.
Yeah. And it's very complex and it does take a little bit of, really looking at the facts to understand. Now, Joe Biden and his team will even say that the economy isn't where we want it to be yet. It is still a work in progress, but the work that has been done has been so far so really good. And, that's and even their team says it's hard to go around the country and hit our chest on how well we're doing with it because there are people out there like the person you talk to at work says, I don't see it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but again, everything so far so good, and hopefully everything, starts getting better because I'm in the mortgage industry, and that is probably one of the most affected industries right now. When it comes, the rates continue to rise. I can't explain why, but it's a hindrance a bit, but there's also we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's what everybody's just kind of hoping for at this point.
Right. And it could be worse. We're out of a pandemic, just out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
It really is. I mean, during the pandemic, people
right now.
Yeah. How many people were depressed during that pandemic? They were like, I can't do anything. I can't work. I can't go anywhere. And now,
people are traveling.
Yeah.
You are traveling. You are buying furniture. You are buying cars. You're complaining, but you're continuing to buy. There are jobs. It used to take 4-6 months to find a job. Now, you can really get a job in a couple months. They're there. It may not be your dream job.
Yeah.
But they're there. It's definitely getting better.
Well, a lot of people are also leaving their what's the opposite of dream job? You know, a nightmare job, and finding at least employment to where it's not, you know, as bad as the job that they were having. But there's more good news, is because I thought you and I were going to have some major egg on our face. And we would have to backtrack, because even before the end of last show, we were a little nervous because Donald Trump on Monday was supposed to make this big grand announcement that was going to clear him of all charges.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, that didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the attorney said, you're not going to be talking.
That's exactly what it is. And I'm thinking too that his attorneys may even said, you're not going to that debate. I'm not sure whether or not Trump wanted to go or he didn't want to go, but I think maybe advice from counsel probably. I
think it's safe to say he doesn't want to share stage with Chris Christie. I'm going to score on that one with that. If Chris Christie was not on that debate stage, he may have won it. The chances would have been greater.
You know what, Lana, though? You know what I'd say? He's so crazy enough. I don't think he cares who's on that stage. I really don't. Wow. I don't think he's afraid of Chris Christie. Yeah. I mean, Chris Christie would have done for us. That would have been great. I don't think he's afraid of anybody. Well, I really don't.
See, I beg to differ, because he doesn't like to appear weak. Chris Christie can go back and forth with him, like jab him. He's accustomed to throwing a jab at someone, the audience like clapping, and that's the end. Like, and he goes on to the next. Chris Christie's a prosecutor. He can't do that. He knows how to hit Trump, and Trump looking weak and like he got hit by somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, this kind of like, and this is why, you know, when you and I just start talking, this is going to be like the second or third thing I was going to talk about. But now, since we're talking about it in the debate, there's something I was listening to. You ever listen to Pod Save America, that podcast?
I haven't listened, but I've heard great things.
It's excellent. I mean, I enjoy it. You know, it's guys that used to work in the Obama administration, and they know the insides and outs of a lot of politics and everything. So it's really good. They were talking, they were replaying a clip, which I'm going to play here in a second.
Nice.
It reminded me, Donald Trump in the debates in 2016, he had a moment against Jeb Bush that really, as much as I can't stand Donald Trump, was really a pretty amazing way how he handled this whole situation. And it kind of, I think, really started sparking people going, I like this guy a lot. So I'm going to play this. This is the 2016 Donald Trump.
I'm excited.
Was use eminent domain to try to take the property of an elderly woman on the Strip in Atlantic City. That is not public purpose. That is downright wrong. And here's the problem with that. The problem was it was to tear down. It was to
Jeb
tear
wants
down.
to be. He wants to be a tough guy. He wants to be a tough guy
It was
tonight.
to tear down
I didn't
the
take
house,
the property.
and the net result was you tried.
I didn't take the property. The woman ultimately didn't want to do that.
That is not true.
And
the simple fact is, to turn this in.
I want to point out real quick. Look how pathetic Marco Rubio looks.
I know. I was just thinking that. Not only does he look like a kid, he looks uncomfortable and afraid.
That he was both.
To a limousine parking lot for his casinos is not a public use. And in Florida, based on what we did, we made that impossible. It is part of our Constitution. That's the better approach. That is the conservative approach.
Mr. Trump, take 30 seconds. Let me just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times you'll have, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough is it?
A lot of times.
This part here.
That's all of his donors and special interests out there. So that's what it is. That's what. And by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the? I'm talking about to the television audience. Donors, special interests, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not, excuse me. The reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that. Eminent domain.
They go on a little bit more, but that is a great debate moment for Donald Trump. You know, it basically dismissing the special donors and saying he's going to do, I don't need your money. And, you know, it was just the total control that he had on stage. And I think
Chris, there's no way. Chris Christie's from New Jersey, New York.
So am I.
He's talking about Jeb.
Yeah.
Like anybody. Jeb looks like he's a rug. Like he's not doing that with Chris Christie. Like Chris Christie knows the stuff. Like he can really get into all of Trump's background and dirty dealings. Like I don't.
And that's the reason why I played that clip first, because to your point, I think there's two reasons why he's not doing the debate. I think, you know, and part of what I'm going to say is to your point. The first one is that 2016 Donald Trump is not the same guy today. True. He's tired. He looks weak. He sounds weak when he talks.
Yeah.
It's just not the same guy.
Yeah.
And the second one, to your point, is back then that shocked everybody up on that stage. They had no idea how to handle that. None. And to your point, Chris Christie 100% would know how to handle it. Yeah. Whether or not Donald Trump is scared of Chris Christie, I don't know. But maybe he doesn't have the fight. Maybe he just is kind of like, I'm up by so much. And he has a point. He's up by so much. Why would you? But
right.
Yeah.
Right. But no, you're right. He doesn't have the fight. Chris would knock him out. I mean, there's so much stuff there to just get him with. I mean, the man was accused of rape. Like, there's just a lot.
Yeah. Well, he was actually convicted.
Liable, right, exactly.
But found liable. Yeah. So without Donald Trump tomorrow night, it's obviously not going to be as wacky and crazy and wild. Probably, I know everybody's like, damn, we want to see that nut ball. We got one last time to see him before he goes to jail.
What am I paying for cable for if I can't see a circus?
Damn it. No, exactly. With that said, and without Donald Trump, do you expect anything from the debate? Do you expect any winners, any losers from the whole thing? You expect a lot of losers.
I know we're going to segue into something that I just cannot wait to talk about, but I don't know. Is Tim Scott going to talk about how women are pregnant for 52 weeks? I don't. Who else is there?
Vivek Ramaswamy, who's gaining some traction.
Who is playing tennis with his shirt off?
Did you see that? First of all, you know what made it cheesier, I should say, than what you are alluding to? What made it cheesier, as a tennis player, I do play tennis.
Oh, nice.
And this guy wasn't showing the net. So he was just basically like looking like he was blasting every ball, and everyone probably was going into the net anyway.
Yeah, it's like, so bizarre. What is this? Like, what was that?
I don't know.
He's going to be Ron Jeremy on the tennis court. Like,
you know, and now that we're talking, because this one, we're going to be all over the place tonight, which I don't care, because we're talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, and couple things. You see, he's sort of alluding to this conspiracy theory that's going on about Maui, that it was an appointee of Barack Obama, and they didn't give the fire department water on time because they want all that gone and clean energy, and they're clearing out the land, and that was done on purpose.
Like, why has he gone down I don't understand.
Well, it's not just him. He added to it. But of course, this is another thing. There can't be one fucking story in this country without it being a conspiracy theory. Not one anymore. Not one.
Seriously, what? And why? Like, why? Why? Because I'm just going to peel off some of the conspiracy theory vote. Like, I don't understand. Like, he knows, but like, why? Like,
yeah. You know, he's also one of these 9/11 conspiracy theorists. He also thinks that there was something afoot, I guess, about 9/11, which I don't know how you go through life with these conspiracies. It's so stupid.
I understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene does it.
Yeah.
because that is her brand.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Vivek is doing it's not his brand. No one fucking cares about who you are. You're just another brown guy to these MAGAs. Like, what is wrong with you?
He blamed it on DEI. You know what DEI is?
Yeah, and
Yeah, diversity,
yeah,
equality,
yeah,
and
inclusion.
inclusion, which
Yeah.
sounds so terrible. It sounds awful.
How is diversity the blame for?
I think it has something to do maybe with the same thing. Like, you remember the bank that it was the one in California, Valley Spring Bank, that got into big trouble, and they blamed it on
DeSantis
DEI and wokeism because there was too many people that were part of the bank. That I think there was maybe 2 black people, and
it's just so stupid.
yeah. But again, it plays to a certain audience, and this audience is somehow, they're just voting. I mean, they're voting. Hopefully not enough. I don't think they are voting enough, but
most of them are dead. Did you see that study about the Republicans? Like,
I did.
The electorate, they're dead.
I did, because of COVID and because of people like Trump and DeSantis and these other nutballs who wanted to keep denying science, basically.
Exactly.
And again, it's laying on your deathbed to troll liberals. To me, does not sound like a very bright way to go out.
Right. But they go to their death. Like, look at them.
Yeah.
Herman Cain. Where's Herman?
Yep. And looking at the nurse saying, "Can you give me the shot now?" And the nurse say, "Sorry, dude. I mean, we tried to tell you months ago."
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You know what else is unbelievable? We have not gotten to the big story of the week.
What's the big story?
Well, the big story is the Donald Trump plans to turn himself in and process at the Fulton County Jail on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was like a documentary crew following him the entire time for that. That's following his agreement earlier Monday to a $200,000 bond and other release conditions. Now, am I correct? It's a $200,000 bond, but you only need to post 10% of it, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you post 10% of that and you're out. So there's $20,000 that his donors are supplying to get him out of jail.
Yep.
Of course, he posted on Truth Social that he'll be going to Atlanta, Georgia to be on Thursday to be arrested. Yeah. Capital. Yeah. Seemed very excited. He's got co-defendants in sweeping racketeering charges that agreed to terms as well. The release conditions outlined in Trump's bond order are more extensive than those laid out in others. They're not screwing around here. They're basically just telling them, none of these shenanigans on social media and threatening witnesses and none of your innuendos. We talked about this last week. They're gonna take his weight, his height, fingerprints, mugshot.
Wow,
which
can't wait.
Me too. You want to guess his weight?
Woo! Let's guess his weight.
Another game.
Okay. I'm gonna go. What is he, like 6'1", maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So.
But his hands are a lot smaller than he leads on. So.
Correct.
Keep that in mind.
All right. I'm gonna say 289.
Okay. I'm writing it down because this is for bragging rights, I guess, right now. God, I want to say 303 so bad.
I kind of wanted to go into the 300s too, because I've seen someone who was shorter at 260.
Yeah.
And it just seems like Trump is that size and taller, so which would give him more weight.
Is there any chance he's any chance he's that narcissistic that he went on a diet for the last week and tried to lose 10 pounds?
And stop eating burgers?
Yeah, I doubt it, right? Nah.
Yeah, you're right. He probably is, and I'll take the 289. But
I'm
you're
going
right.
303.
Yeah,
I'm doing it.
no. You're probably right because he may be above that. He's
Mhm.
probably like 310 to be honest with you because he's 6'1". So
Yeah.
289. It seems. I don't think he's in his 200s.
Yeah.
Unless he lost weight from being indicted. But I'll stick with my 289. Unless he
289. All right.
yeah.
So Lana's down for 289.
Yeah.
If anybody out there is watching this, if you want to send us, put in the comments what you believe his weight is going to be. By the way, it is now officially time to ask for the subscriptions because you didn't even know we were on earlier. So I think it kind of slipped your mind.
Never slips my mind because I write it down.
Yes, you do. Look, I even have our little like and subscribe bubble on the bottom there.
Yeah. I was like, we'll do it at the end of the show. That was my thought. I'm like, I guess we'll do it at the end.
So, yes. So, another clip here, and I think it's important to remember, and I think everybody's already heard this clip, but I went back and listened to this, and it's just highlights of it. But the reason why Donald Trump, part of the reason why he's in the trouble that he's in right now, is this phone call that he made to Georgia officials to try to basically find votes for him and get them to say that they won. But it's just, I don't know if you could hear it enough times to listen to. Did you listen to the phone call?
Not the full phone call.
Okay. I did. I listened. Now, of course, we're not going to play the full because it's an hour, but these are highlights, and this is a clip of, the phone call that Donald Trump made to Georgia officials with his attorneys present. Some of them who I think Mark Meadows was there, and was Eastman there? I can't remember, but there was a couple of people there, and let's take a listen
Eastman too.
as to why this moronic idiot is probably going to jail.
We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. I mean, having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
So that's the first part of it where he's, I know Donald Trump fancies himself as a salesperson and and somebody that can convince people into doing things. And he's probably been able to do it very well his whole life because he was the boss. It's a lot easier to do when you're the boss. And he's also found a way to scam his way from getting a lot of bank loans that he should have never received.
Yeah.
So in some respect, he had the gift of gab. But when you're talking to elected officials who know the law way better than you do, kind of hard to get away with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's listen a little bit more here.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is.
That's what the rumor. He's going off a rumor. Yeah.
And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
Ryan, Germany.
He's right. That is illegal if that happened. The problem is it didn't happen.
It's just like trying to force the thought, like gaslighting.
That's exactly right. And this went on, by the way, it went on for an hour until he never got the answer he wanted, which made it even funnier. And I'm a crazy idiot. I can listen to the full hour again and laugh like it's the greatest comedy I've ever seen. But here's this poor bastard, Ryan.
No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
Like he's really like trying to make him like that. Oh my God, he's like some. bumbling gangster.
That's he's a bumbling gangster. In fact, they should make a goofy movie called The Bumbling Gangster, and it should be loosely based on maybe just this phone call alone.
Oh my God.
You sure, Ryan? He's trying to convince this guy, Ryan, and Ryan's not having it. So the phone call is going along. So far, Donald Trump has struck out a couple of times here. He's up to bat again, and let's see how this at bat goes.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
Wow.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't.
No,
you don't. You don't have. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes.
Wow.
So that one, obviously, just you guys have it wrong. They've looked at this election numerous times, and they've got nothing for him.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen.
This is where it's almost threatening
to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can. Both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
But I still need these votes.
It's amazing to me where he's basically threatening them, saying, guys, I'm notifying you right now that I won this state. So get your P's and Q's together, figure it out, because there's going to be problems if you don't. Somebody could say, you're just interpreting it that way. You're right. That's how I'm interpreting it. But I don't think I'm off base. Do you hear the same thing?
Oh, yeah. I hear a perfect phone call for funny.
You know what? In a sense, this is a perfect phone call. I never heard a phone call like it in my life.
What the heck? Well, you see what they're trying to do to Fani, right? How Georgia passed. Yeah, that's.
I don't think it's going to work. Again, it's all desperation moves. It's stuff that we've talked about before. It's, and you're going to do everything you can to delay.
And it doesn't go away.
Distract. It doesn't.
It doesn't go away. You get rid of the prosecutor. The case doesn't go away. He's been indicted by a grand jury. What are we talking about right now?
And see, that's the other thing that drives me nuts, that a lot of people, really, even people who follow it, don't even really understand, because they literally think that Joe Biden sat in his office and said, order number one, get as many indictments as you can on Joe Biden. It doesn't work that way. It's all in different districts, and it's all done through grand juries who are picked, and they go over the evidence and they decide whether or not we are going to move forward with this case or not moving forward with the case.
Right. Because they could not. I mean, look at all the police brutality cases when the cops, they didn't get indicted. Why? Because the grand jury said, no, there's nothing here.
Correct. Yeah. They don't point to those and say, but again, it's just so there's the mentality or the information that people have in their brains are just completely uninformed, or it's ignoring facts because you want the facts that you want instead of the facts that are real.
Right. That's basically what it is.
All right. Let's listen to a few more minutes of this, because you're right. It's a perfect phone call.
It's perfect.
All right.
So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways.
Another threat.
And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers.
My people is basically what
For
he's
instance,
saying.
I'm hearing Ryan, and he's probably, I'm sure, a great lawyer and everything, but he's making statements about those ballots that he doesn't know. But he's making them with he did make them with surety, but now I think he's less sure, because the answer is they all went to Biden. And that alone wins us the election by a lot. You know, so.
He's
Mr.
running
Pre-
out of gas.
You have
Yeah.
people that submit information, and we have our people that submit information, and then
This
it
is
comes
great.
before the court, and the court then has to make a determination. We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Go ahead.
Now, I was just gonna say, how many times did they count in Fulton County? Like 4. Like, motherfucker, it's Fulton fucking County. You didn't win Fulton fucking County, and you know you didn't win Fulton fucking County.
Correct.
All the diversity there. Like, what are you talking about right now? It's not. You didn't win Fulton County.
Again, that's how incredibly deranged this guy is. And he's talking to people, and that's the other thing. We keep talking about all these cases, and the reason why they were able to get enough grand juries to make indictments, and the reason why they continue on with these cases, is because there was so much evidence, and so much of the evidence, if not all of it, came from people who either worked for, worked close to, worked with, voted for Donald Trump. They're not Democrats. Almost not. I don't even know if there is a Democrat that has testified in any of these cases.
If it is, it's 1 or 2. It's a handful. And here's the kicker, that not one MAGA, Trump supporting, Trump loving, I'll die for Trump cult member can explain. If you have a fucking ballot with Donald Trump on it, how did the ballot get messed up, whereas it changed it to Biden, making it illegitimate, but then all the other Republicans on the ballot won their races? Like, how can we not explain this, MAGA? It doesn't make sense. You want to throw out the ballot because Trump lost, because you said it's not good, but then that means that the Republicans that were on the ballot lost too?
Lana, you're making too much sense out of this,
They
out of
don't
this
vote.
perfect phone call. I mean, you're ruining the perfect phone call by making sense and logic out of it.
Oh my God. It's like, no one can answer that question. It's like other. He wasn't the only one on the ballot.
It's unbelievable. In fact, that election, I'm trying to remember. Okay, they won. No, that's right. They won the House and the Senate. But you're right. There's a lot of Republicans on there that, won their races. And
because that's what they were talking. Some of the Democrats would say, like, well, if this ballot is no good, then you yourself that's saying that Trump won, you are saying you didn't win if that ballot wasn't good.
Correct. Yeah, no, those votes were right. Just the Donald Trump ones were wrong. So, all right, let's finish this up. This clown's running out of gas. He is going down every avenue until, well, I don't even know until. He just keeps going. And I think, he's trying to convince these guys, because he's been told these guys voted for you. They're Republicans. They like you. So he's like, just get me on the phone with them. I'll handle this. And so far, not so good.
Under law, you're not allowed to give faulty election results, okay? You're not allowed to do that, and that's what you've done. This is a faulty election result. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow, because you have a big election coming up, and because of what you've done to the president, the people of Georgia know that
this is the caged, cornered tiger right now.
This was a scam. Yeah. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Okay? They hate it. And they're going to vote. And if you would be respected, really respected, if this thing could be straightened out before the election. You have a big election coming up on Tuesday.
That you'd be respected thing. See, that kind of garbage works on people like Donald Trump. You just tell him what you want to hear. Like he really thought that those guys were going to go, wait, guys, did you hear that?
Yeah.
President Donald Trump said we would be respected if we
Yeah.
just after 45 minutes told him no, maybe we'll just, the respect we'll get is going to be, we never thought of that. All right, it's ending right now.
Say.
Oh, that's it. Okay, so that's the reason why Donald Trump has his 4th indictment.
Whew. My God. You know what's interesting about the 4th indictment? So now you probably heard this, the other, what was it, like 18 co-conspirators, whatever, in the Fulton County indictment. They're all pissed at him because he's not paying their attorney.
Well, I know Jenna Ellis, which is funny to me. You know, it drives me. So she is whining on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Whining on Twitter that the MAGA is not paying for her defense in this whole thing. But see, unfortunately, Jenna, that's what happens when you wrap yourself up in criminal activity with a lifelong con man. Like, so what are they supposed to do? I mean, now she's trying to raise money online. She's not really getting a whole bunch of money raised.
This is spectacular because this all means that these people are going to try to flip. And Fonnie knew it. That's why she was like, I want this within whatever time. She already knows that these people are going to start to flip on him because they can't afford these legal fees. I mean, and just today, which I think we already knew that the IT guy had, I could swear we already knew that. They were reporting like it was a bombshell today, but I could swear that we were saying that he had already flipped and was like, no, I'm not doing
There is so many bombshells that we get hit with every damn day that it is just, I don't know how everybody's still standing with all the bombshells, but
you know what's interesting? What I thought about, I'm like, he's not helping to pay for attorney's fees for those 18 in Georgia, but that documents case, he's paying for Nada and De Oliveira.
Correct.
For a reason. Like he
knows that because he obviously this is an opinion, but it's an opinion based on what you read, but he used these two as stooges and fools and got them to do whatever it is that he wanted them to do. And they got the goods on him if they really want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like they must know like the dirty stuff.
Yeah, they should know.
Buried in Ivana or whatever it is. Like,
Did you see her grave, by the way?
Yeah, that's all over Twitter. I'm like, what in the? I mean, that is kind of gross. Like, even like she can't be buried there. Like, even if he's not taking care of it, like the kids didn't go and visit that thing.
I know that is just strange. The whole thing. First of all, the whole fucking family is weird and strange. Anybody that doesn't know that where she was buried it was at Bedminster. Is that where it was? They're apparently not mowing the yard around there. So it's all, I don't know. Maybe Donald's got some stuff in there that he just wants it buried so far underneath.
Yeah.
Now that's a conspiracy theory. We're not conspiracy.
We're not conspiracy. But it is just weird that it's overgrown if she's buried there on that golf course or property or whatever. And why aren't the kids, Ivanka visiting? That's just strange.
I have no idea. Or maybe they are, and they're just like, that's dad. He's not going to get everything taken care of for this, but who knows?
It's just weird.
I'm afraid a little bit to move on to the next topic because our second show, we only did, this is our 6th show. And do you know this is our 6th show? This is our first show in 3 weeks where Donald Trump hasn't been indicted on a new.
That's hilarious. They did pay a bond today, so.
Yeah. But on our second show, we had one. So I told you, we break the show down in clips, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. There's one clip that we did by a gentleman, country singer named Jason Aldean, and his stupid song. What is it called again? To try that small town dumb shit. So I hesitate. There's another country song out. Do you want to talk country music again? Because we got
Yeah,
some,
let's do it.
we got some views on there, but we had over 200 comments. And I could tell you, Lana, I know you probably didn't even go bother looking at them. I looked at everyone and responded to everyone because I'm an idiot. They don't like us very much.
No, of course not.
Well, so we may be on. They may be on the attack again on
Yeah,
this one.
sweet. Just view the channel so we want. You can subscribe to
That's
it.
it. You know the problem though is these assholes. They go on there and they see within 30 seconds how we hate it, and
Right.
they stop watching it.
Yeah.
So at least if you're gonna comment and call us assholes, and you know
What?
way worse than assholes, and I would suggest maybe using Google to learn how to punctuate and spell a little bit better. But
Cannot.
but either way, be yourself. Comment however you want to. But I lost my train of thought. But I was going to say, there's a gentleman named Oliver Anthony, and he has a new song called "Richmond North of Richmond,"
Okay.
Virginia. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's a country song that talks about, you know, his working all day and his bullshit pay and all that kind of stuff, which, you know, it's a country song, and it goes on a little bit, goes through the chorus, and then it gets to a part where it starts getting a little QAnon-ish. It starts getting, you know, very far right, you know, in its language here. Again, somewhat coded language, but I'm not going to bother you with all the lyrics. It's another awful song. And, you know, I'm not a country music fan. There's probably 13 country songs I like. But outside of that, it's just not for me. But I'm also, you know, I'm not one of those nutballs who goes around and says we need to get rid of country music. And
Oh, some of it's good. I mean, I like Charlie Price. I think that was his name.
Charlie Pride.
Pride, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I mean, again, and I don't care who you are, if as a musician, if you make it to the top of the charts and you're selling out arenas, I don't care who you are, you're doing something right. I mean, you're doing the right thing, and you're very, very talented. But this guy, in after his chorus, hits us with, "I wish politicians would look out for minors, miners, and not just minors on an island somewhere." Now, obviously, we know what the reference is there, but we'll get back to that in a second. "Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare." Do you have something to say?
I don't even understand what I'm just hearing. But go ahead. No. Obese milking welfare?
Yeah. Okay. So the first one is he's looking out for minors and not minors on an island somewhere. Now, obviously, that's a reference to the Jeffrey Epstein thing, which has become a big QAnon conspiracy, which this is another thing. You got to explain it to me, MAGA. And please take your time. Don't rush into your answer.
Right.
The Epstein thing seems to be associated with Bill Clinton only, and that Bill Clinton visited Epstein Island. And from my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there's no proof of any wrongdoing by Bill Clinton. Now, if you put two and two together, did he go to that island and maybe, you know, find himself into some situations? His history would tell you that that's a very strong possibility. But of course, Jeffrey Epstein, who was arrested, was because of illegal acts with minor girls.
Right.
And so the implication there is Bill Clinton, Epstein. But the part I need explained to me is all the pictures with Trump, all the dialogue from Trump about what a great person Epstein was.
Yep.
Dancing with Donald Trump with girls.
Yeah.
And if you really take the time, you can actually dig up literally a court case that was filed from a 13-year-old girl who claimed that Epstein and Trump raped them. And she later rescinded and maybe she rescinded it because it wasn't true, or maybe she rescinded it because she felt a lot of pressure and a lot of
Right.
threats. But any thoughts on that?
Right. They just leave those things out. It's like it just doesn't happen. It's pretty unbelievable. He's not racist. Oh, well, he was sued in House and court for discrimination. Democrats are pedophiles. Trump bragged on Howard Stern that he, got a kick out of walking in on teen
That is
girls
correct.
during his pageants. But they just they don't want to hear it. They don't care. They just erase. It's just weird. And that's the difference. And this shouldn't even be political. A fucking pedophile is a fucking pedophile. It's disgusting if it's a Democrat or a Republican. And some of these people aren't even claimed to be either ones. They're just fucking pedophiles, right? But at least the Democratic Party, if it is someone who claims to be a Democrat that has sexually molested, or like Wiener sending inappropriate texts to minors, we say, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah, you're no longer part of us anymore.
Exactly. But these MAGAs, they you tell them and they act like you didn't say it, or just it's fake. They use fake news when they don't want to hear it. It's just a deflection tactic. Not that they believe that it's fake news. It's just a deflection. It's
well, it's fake news became very popular, obviously, even though fake news was used way before Donald Trump, but Donald Trump sort of hijacked that term.
Kellyanne Conway.
Yes. And her what did she say? What about facts did she call it?
I can't remember.
We'll remember it. But he used that fake news term and I'm going to get back to these lyrics, but did you see I remember, I think we said we're not going to call it polls. We're going to call them surveys. There was a survey on feel what they tell you is true. So if you're a Trump voter, they asked you between certain people, who do you think is telling you the truth more? There was 4 different answers. In 4th place came religious leaders at 42%. At 56%, and in 3rd place, conservative media figures. That's scary. At 63%, your friends and family. And at number 1, at 71%, Donald Trump is the person they feel tell them more about what is true than anybody else listed on that particular survey.
It is going to be a class in psychology. Trump is long gone, and how he got these people to it is a cult. He really is teaching a master class in language, and his language sucks, but he knows how to be repetitive. He knows how to gaslight the fuck out of you. He just really got anything. I heard a woman, this guy was going around interviewing Trump people at one of the stupid rallies, and she was she believes everything he says and she would die for him. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Would you say that even about your children
Right.
or your husband?
Right.
Would you go around saying you would die for your husband or your child, and you would die for Trump? Why? I really think they're so. He's a celebrity too, so I think people are caught up in that kind of thing. The celebrity's actually here and talking to us, which he's not. And he sure as hell, he wouldn't die for his own kids. He ain't dying for y'all. What?
I have said that before, that I don't care what anybody says. I really think he would throw his own kids under the bus to save and protect himself.
And you know what? They know that. That's why they don't show up to any of these indictments. They're not supporting him because they don't fucking care about this man.
Yeah.
Not even his own youngest kid is there. She keeps that kid away from that man.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, nobody, I mean, none of his family show up to any of these indictments. No, I mean, nobody that supposedly loves this guy. They're
How
on
is that
Fox
a
and they're
thing?
howling on Fox, but
Right. How is that a thing?
yeah,
Like, how is that? Seriously, that is so bizarre. Like, not one of these indictments?
yeah,
Not even your wife in the background? Like,
yeah,
you can show support. Like, I support him. That's I support you.
yeah.
Them not showing up is like, nah, we'll just do what we do on Twitter, but we're not fucking going there. We don't care. Like,
Yeah, the fact that even just Melania doesn't do it is a
right,
very
right.
well, it's not strange. It's very, very telling. But it's funny, this is the clip that people are going to be watching because of the country music thing, and we went off on Donald Trump. So now we've given, I think, some people more ammunition to hit us with some very nasty comments. Although I think we've agreed they won't get this far anyway on the clip.
They probably won't. I thought you
No.
were going to show me Vivek playing tennis shirtless.
I almost had that as a clip.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I almost did it. Hey, it's not too late. Maybe we can.
Yeah, and then compare it to like Robert Kennedy Jr. like doing push-ups with.
Oh my God, where he was doing. I think he was like doing.
Whatever.
He was doing incline bench, I think, of 95 pounds or something like that. And I'm not making fun of the fact that he's doing 95 pounns, at 70 whatever years
that's
old.
amazing.
Yeah, not bad, but still, I don't know what. That's what I like this show, because we can get off on so many tangents, and I'm going to get back to these lyrics here, and I'm almost done with that. But I do want to do something, because there is a masculinity problem in this country.
Yeah, look at Putin. Putin will walk around shirtless too, or like on the boat.
Yeah.
I'm like, ew, dude.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where everybody almost has to portray some sort of macho thing, and it makes you look. Doesn't make you, in my opinion, doesn't make you look macho. It makes you look fucking stupid.
It really does. If you have to try
to
prove that you're masculine.
Yeah.
A real man doesn't do that. A real man doesn't have to run around saying, I'm a man, damn it. I'm a man. Like, what?
Yep. Well, guess who doesn't do that, Lana? This guy. I don't run around and say that shit because I don't have to. All right, let's go over one more little line here. Well, God's injected into this one. If you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, by the way, I probably could have played the clip of,
my goodness.
but I don't know if I can stand listening to it because it's a bad
Okay.
song. Yeah. If you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bag of fudge rounds. Young men ain't putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep kicking them down. You're making a statement here, but it's funny you put that on there about 5'3", 300 pounds. I don't know if this guy has seen many Trump rallies, but they're not the fittest.
Who's he talking about? Democrats? Like,
I don't.
What's happening?
Well, here's the thing, and that's why people will go, well, why are you inferring this? And one of the reasons why we're inferring that this is a far right-wing song is because it has been discovered by somebody that they did with this song is something called astroturfing. And basically what astroturfing is, it's like these deceptive practices and, orchestrated marketing that is done, and it happened to be done by some far right. It was put out there and highly pushed by what is the one of the far right wing groups. I think Ben Shapiro's company, or Matt Walsh, or whoever that is, one of those guys, because people are like, well, wait a minute, how did this guy come? Overnight, he had like over 1 million, views on this thing. And somebody was a little leery about that. So they did a little work into it and found out that what they did was this is astroturfing. And it's very similar to what Donald Trump Jr. did with his book when it came out. RNC bought a bunch of copies to make it look like it was the #1 bestseller on the New York Times list, which it turned out. And I don't know what satisfaction they get out of that either. I mean, other than
it's just weird, and it's a lie. Like, you're right. What is the satisfaction? Because it's not true.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it got millions of views. It got, of course, shot to #1 of the country charts. And it doesn't seem to me like it's very difficult to.
Awful. Those lyrics are stupid.
They are. Again, it's just, I don't know.
This is really stupid. It's so not understanding. But
Yeah.
5'3", 300 pounds. Like, you're right. Have you been to a Trump rally?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they get all
Down
that stuff.
south?
Yeah. So going back, because we were talking about the debate, we did not talk about Donald Trump. We said he wasn't going to be there, but where he's going to be is with Tucker Carlson on, I don't know. Do you know? Is it on Twitter?
Twitter, yeah. Twitter, yeah.
And
yeah.
they plan on doing it at the same time. It's
yeah,
pre-recorded.
Yeah. Weird.
Well, is it though?
Recorded days earlier. It's like, it's not even, who cares?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it though? Because again, you made the point earlier. I think they want to make sure every word that comes out of his mouth doesn't go out publicly. I'm sure the lawyer probably said, we have to watch every word of this.
Right. And edit it.
And edit it and make sure that it is, not something that will incriminate him and throw his ass in jail.
You know what I'm happy about?
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Tucker Carlson's book?
Oh, no, I was just going to say his attorneys are dummies too. They're not
yeah.
They're not the best of the best. So they're going to miss something because they're not the best of the best. So
they are not.
Carlson has a book.
Oh, yeah. He came out with his memoir or whatever it is. It sold 3,000 copies. Womp, 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 right? And that's what these guys don't understand. I mean, Tucker Carlson was a hero in that whole weird space for quite some time because he had that 8 o'clock slot on Fox News. But so did Megyn Kelly. So did Bill O'Reilly. Once these guys are gone, they don't give a shit about you. They ain't going to no fucking Twitter to find your dumbass.
Nope.
Yeah.
You're right. Then before we get off line, we have to laugh about Ron DeSantis. We can't do a show.
We got to do it every week.
We got to laugh about Ron DeSantis and his debate prep and how the New York Times discovered that memo.
This is why Lana is, you sit there and you go, God, I want to do a live YouTube show. I got to find somebody good, though, that will be on top of things. I wanted to talk about that. I forgot to write it down, but go ahead and explain what happened with Ronnie D.
Well,
Tiny D.
Yeah. I'm not good at explaining things, but the New York Times apparently found this memo that was posted by his super PAC.
Yes, which, by the way, a super PAC's not supposed to have any contact with the nominee.
Right. And I guess that's why the super PAC didn't give it to Ron DeSantis, but actually posted it on their own website for Ron DeSantis to get it from there. So technically they're not having any contact with Ron DeSantis.
Yeah. And where I'm trying to figure out who came up with that plan.
I don't know. Somebody that hates Ron DeSantis because somebody
100%.
Somebody does not like Ron DeSantis because they tipped off the New York Times of where to find this thing at.
Yeah, and just anybody that does not know, it was basically what to say during the debate and how to go after Vivek Ramaswamy, but to defend Donald Trump in his absence.
I wrote it down.
Good.
Number one, attack Joe Biden and the media 3 to 5 times. Like it says 3 to 5 times. Like what? Jesus. Ron DeSantis is like a child. He's 2.
Like Marco Rubio, part 2.
Yeah. Number 2, state positive vision 2 to 3 times. Number 3, hammer Vivek Ramaswamy.
You got it right.
And a response. So, like, I guess if some response, you gotta like, what if you're not talking to? Okay, whatever. Okay, 4, defend Trump in response to Chris Christie's attack.
Yeah, I mean, how pathetic.
No, this one is pathetic. This one is the pathetic one.
I love it.
He had to be reminded to tell a personal story about his wife and children.
Oh. You know what? Something tells me he's still gonna follow through with that one, and it is gonna be so uncomfortable. It's gonna be so uncomfortable, I might have to change the channel. I was like, I can't watch this. This is so bad.
You know who else saw this memo? Chris
His
Christie.
wife and kids
Oh,
and Chris
yeah,
Christie,
Chris
and
Christie
yeah.
and the rest of them. They're
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Is that on your memo, Ron?"
God, could you imagine? And I wasn't kidding. Now that because just when we went back and saw that debate clip from 2016, and looking how scared and pathetic Marco Rubio looked,
Right.
he's giving off those vibes too. Like he just
Yeah.
doesn't look comfortable. And now when he's going to be up there with 8 people really attacking him, because at the end of the day, he's still the number 2 guy.
Still number 2, right?
And number 2 is worth attacking on that stage because number 1 might not be around much longer.
Yeah, exactly. So they have to.
Yeah.
In place of Trump, they're gonna attack. And he's an idiot. He's gonna defend Trump. I cannot wait to. How is he gonna defend Trump? Like, what are you gonna say? What?
Well, I don't know. The super PAC unfortunately didn't give him the memo of exactly what to say and how to defend him. But
Right. Yo, this is good. This is gold.
what do
So
you think's going through his head? What were you going to say?
Now I didn't want to watch it, but the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, just for Ron DeSantis clips. Like,
Yeah.
just because I hope they bring who would bring up Black history? Will Chris Christie talk about that?
I don't think any of them there are
Yeah, 'cause
going
they probably
to.
all support that kind of thing. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think that you're going to get them to beat him up on that a lot. They're probably going to beat him up on cowering down to Disney now. That's probably something that they're going to show that you were the big bad tough guy in Florida, and now you're basically saying, "Hey, my bad, guys. Can we just drop this whole thing?" And Mickey Mouse went right like this and said, "Fuck you."
No, we're not dropping it. We're not ever dropping it. How about that?
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's a lot of things to hammer him on, and to me, that part's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I grew up just like you. You said, you like watching politics. You like getting into the sport of it. You like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Over these last 4 or 5 years, it's become so damn exhausting. And sometimes my brain almost says, do I really want to watch this clown show? I mean, do I really want to sit here and watch this? I'm going to, and you're going to sit there and listen and to see your
What time is it?
8, I believe, or maybe 9. Obviously, you're going to have people up there who are just going to do whatever they can to get their stupid sound bite on all
Nikki
over the
Haley,
place.
like, I think I hate her the most.
Nikki Haley?
Yeah, I shouldn't say hate, but I dislike her. Like, just the most. It's her and Tim Scott. Like, I just really, and Nikki Haley for sure.
What don't you like about them?
Because they're both people of color, like, especially Nikki Haley, and she's a woman.
Yeah.
Like, so I have a problem with, like, her parents came to this country on the backs of the civil rights movement, right? Because a lot of Indians did. They were able to come here because Black people fought, for Blacks, but all people of color were in that civil rights movement, and that kind of protected Indians that came to this country as well. And then for her to act like, to toe the line, relative to, like, talking about African American history and things like that, and she kind of rolled the back, or her parents did anyway. Like, that kind of sucks. Like, it sucks the way she talks about Hillary Clinton, and it's like, because of Hillary Clinton, you are here.
Correct.
Like, it's just a lot of those things, and then she keeps talking about Biden being dead. Like, that's very concerning and weird.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many too.
They're all very concerning and weird. What is it that you don't like about Tim Scott?
I mean, what's there to like about Tim Scott?
That's true. I mean,
I don't know how. Again, I keep going back to color because Republicans are just blatantly racist and bigots. Like, they're just really disgusting. And you're a Black man from the South. you know better.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just like and Nikki Haley just want to get ahead. It's just like, wow, you're really doing this just to get ahead? I don't
Yeah.
know. Ahead of what?
Yeah, I don't know if they're vying, probably for a vice president, and there's a
Yeah,
good chance either one of them
absolutely.
could be
Absolutely.
on the ticket. So,
Never the black
we
man.
what's
Yeah,
that?
no, I just said they would never Republicans would never put a black man as vice president. As much as they used Tim Scott, I don't think they would trust him because at the end of the day, he's still a black man.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right, and I don't think even Donald Trump would do it, to be honest with
No,
you.
he will not. He's still, and Nikki Haley's still a woman. Like, I
Correct.
just don't see them trusting that process like that.
Because, there would almost be a case to put either one of them on for Donald Trump.
Right.
But I think Donald Trump, like you just said, I think he still has this mentality, this
Right.
whatever it is. Well, it's really a racist mentality that he's a black guy. We like him a lot, but, he's not going to be my pick. And a woman,
Right.
that ain't happening
It
either.
ain't happening.
Although Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to think that that's going to happen. She's pressing for it.
Yeah, she's stupid because Trump wouldn't even put it like he would never put a woman. He's just not going to do that. He doesn't respect women. Why would he put her there just to do what?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think that Donald Trump, he might even be, and I don't want to use the word smart in the same sense as Donald Trump, but he might be aware enough to understand just how crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene is.
Right. He don't want her blowing up his spot.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here trying to do some more crime. Why are you here? Like, I need somebody who's just going to be shut up.
That's exactly right. And she would make Sarah Palin look like a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just the thought of Trump back in the White House makes my stomach hurt because
Me too.
I am just thinking of my pillow guy. I'm thinking about just Ron DeSantis. He probably thinks he would be number 2 as well. I don't see that happening either because I don't think Trump likes that man at all. Like, he doesn't want anyone who's competition either.
I would say that Donald Trump holds grudges, but I think what Donald Trump does, though, is if Ron DeSantis, which it appears now that he is a ballless, just a weaselly little dude, that he would suck up to Donald Trump after Donald Trump knocks his ass out.
You're
and
right.
it's just like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was literally caught with text messages saying, literally use the word, I hate him. I cannot wait until this guy is out of our lives. And now he's doing an interview with him.
They're all just across the board. They're hypocrites with each other. Like, they're hypocritical to us. They're hypocritical to each other. They just don't. They like self. They love self.
They do. I have a couple more clips. We're going to wrap up the show. Let me go over that. By the way, is my face orange?
It looks tan, but is that orange? I'm just looking at my forehead. I'm trying to wipe the shine away from my forehead because it's so big.
Oh, you look good. I keep looking at it and I keep seeing orange, but I don't know why I care. Let's see. Okay. So, by the way, I'm in a Twitter war with Roseanne.
Roseanne Barr?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's great.
Not really. She responded to one of my tweets.
Oh, nice.
She made some lame joke about COVID. And I just remember when Roseanne used to be funny? And she responded to me. She said, try not saying that in a tweet where I was hilarious. And I was like, I don't know what the funny.
Did you get some subscribers? Because that's all I care about. Because that's dope.
We did.
You probably got some. Yeah.
We got some subscribers over the week. We actually, like I said, we had one clip that had over 1,400 views. So, that's there's an algorithm thing with YouTube. YouTube, if you are listening, do us a favor and get our clips out there. And but there was one thing going back a little bit about the Maui thing. And all the criticism of Joe Biden, because that's what they do. I mean, all you're going to do now is see, again, we've talked about the difference when you're listening to so-called mainstream media, whatever. And quite frankly, Fox is as mainstream as it gets right now. But from their definition of mainstream media, if they were critical of Donald Trump, like the way he handled Puerto Rico and the way he handled COVID and he handled all that stuff, the criticism was legitimate. There was a place,
Right.
that it came from.
Right.
Now, if there was nothing to criticize him for, they wouldn't make things up like Fox News does.
Right.
But I think I saw on her left hand she's married, because if she wasn't, I'm in love, I think, with Jessica Tarlov of Fox News.
Oh,
I'm in love with her.
You introduced me to her. Well,
yes. So,
but yeah,
I wish I could introduce to her, because I'm in love with her. I'm in love with her. I gotta say it. But she's on the 5, and so there's 4 dipshits and her, and she basically takes on the dipshits in their lives. And they, of course, had their false narrative about Joe Biden and Maui. This is her response, taking on all 4 of these idiots.
Oh, let's go.
There have been so many craven lies told about the timeline of the response on this. Jesse just said his first comments were no comment, which is categorically untrue. So that was on August 13th. The wildfires started on August 8th. On August 10th, that's when a major disaster declaration occurred. He got the request from Hawaii to do that. It took him just 63 minutes to sign that.
You signed a piece of paper. I'm talking about significant public comments.
Just wait for it. And then later that day, he was in Utah talking about something else, and he opened up by commenting on what was going on in Hawaii and how devastating it was. Listen to what the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, said. Within 6 hours, the administration met our needs with federal movement. I don't think that's ever happened before. The Maui County mayor, I wanted to say how responsive the president has been. He called me. I asked for the help that we needed. And within 2 hours, one of his cabinet members called me to answer my question. We've been getting all the help that we need.
That's the Maui mayor. Just pointing that out.
Right, and you don't think at a time when there are hundreds of people dead and there's another 1,000 people that are missing, that the Maui mayor wouldn't have said, Joe Biden is lying to you when he says that they care.
You got to be nice. You got to be nice. You have to be nice because you're hoping for something.
You're hoping for all the things that he got. The FEMA aid came in. I saw Republicans criticizing him. Why do you only give them $700? That's the FEMA limit.
Never been done before.
He was talking to a dog whose paws are on the ground. It's not like he's saying to
what a guy talking about talking to a dog. Are you kidding me? This is a guy who goes.
And clearly she's drunk again on her show, Judge Janine. But again, it's the way she just takes them on, and they do have to sit there and take it, which I do love, because it does appear as if she did make a stipulation on that show. I'll be on the show. You got to let me say what I got to say, because if you don't, what's the point?
Right. And then they're like flabbergasted, and they can't even respond with facts because she's giving them facts. So they got to make sure, are you kidding me? Like, it's got
snide remarks.
Yeah, because they have nothing else.
She read a quote by the Hawaiian governor, and then she read a quote from the Maui mayor, and he had to make fun of it. He was like, the Maui mayor, by the way. It's like, well, wait a minute. The Maui mayor is a pretty important person in this.
Because we're going to bring politics into it. Oh, he wouldn't say it. Like, his people are fucking dead. If they didn't get a response, he would say, help us. Somebody help us, is what they would be saying. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Because he didn't touch down the day of while the fucking fire was still happening. He wasn't. Why isn't he here while the flames are like, what is...
Again, that's what's making politics kind of not fun anymore. Because I have no problem with criticism of anybody politically. I am not married to any politician. I know there are politicians that I really admire and I really like, but I don't bow down and celebrate politicians the same way maybe I do my sports teams or something like that. But people are doing it like they're celebrating they're tailgating a fucking truck with 10 flags hanging from it.
It's so dishonest. Like, who the fuck are these people? It's so bizarre. Like, if Trump went to Puerto Rico and did a great job and his response was right away, or if Bush went to Louisiana and did what he was supposed to be doing, we would say it. Like,
Yeah.
we would give him the kudos that they deserve, but they didn't.
Yeah. It's totally amazing. And it's, everything is anti-Biden. Everything is, and again, it's fine, but that's just, for me, that's not good for the country. It's just to opine on how much you don't like somebody and you're going to nitpick every little thing that they do. And, I know people would listen to this and go to say to you or I, say, well, that's what they did for 4 years with Trump. But again, I go back to Trump is not your typical politician. Some people go, well, that's a good thing, but show me the good thing that he did.
What?
And then I'll go, well, maybe you're right about that. And I'm sure he did 1 or 2 things that weren't terrible, but
I don't even know. Like, I search my head, like, what can I say that Trump did that benefited Americans?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't. There's not one thing that I can think of. And I'm not just saying that because I have looked up. I mean, there are some things he did the First Step Act. I believe that was called, where it was a little bit more lenient to prisoners. I think it had something to do with that. But other than that, I mean, for overall Americans, like you just said, I cannot think of a policy. I can't think of anything that he did that was good for the American people.
And Republicans as a whole have done nothing. And I think it was you and I get the conversations and everything mixed up.
We're on 100 shows now. So
every policy that Americans use and need or that's beneficial, it's because Democrats have introduced the policies and have voted on them.
Yeah.
Republicans love the babies. Democrats are killing the babies.
Yep. And eating them too, by the way.
Eating them, but they voted against the Pump Act so that women, employers that have to give women the break to breastfeed, have to give them a safe, clean, non-bathroom place so they can pump. You love the babies, but then you don't even want to vote for the Pump Act or like the Hearing Act for infants. They voted against hearing tests for fucking babies. I mean, thank God Democrats, passed these things, but these are things that they voted against. They're voting against universal free meals.
I know. It makes no sense. And it's almost this freeloader attitude. It's just like, what, dude, what are you people talking about? But the other thing too, that is driving me nuts lately is, and it's been driving me nuts for a while, is the far right people are making enough noise to where it's starting to concern Americans that we're spending too much money over in Ukraine, which again, as American, we don't want to have to spend money on these kind of things. If we had our, if everybody was polled and said, would you prefer that we not send money to Ukraine? If you really understood the implications, the answer would be no. Keep doing it. It sucks that we have to.
Right.
But
if you
keep doing
understand
it.
the implication, and that's the problem. They don't understand the implication. They don't understand, hey, well, number one, we're not sending the most money to Ukraine. We're
13th.
Right.
13th.
We're not even sending the most of the fucking with the NATO. We're not even sending the most of the money.
That is correct.
And
at least GDP wise. I mean, that's what, I think when it comes dollar amount, we're probably, but GDP wise, we're 13th of the entire amount. But to that point too, is so you have the far right going, we got things here in our country we need to spend the money on. So let's say we stop sending the money to Ukraine and Joe Biden goes, okay, let's start spending on the money here in the people of the United States. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're spending too much money. The debt's the debt. Even though their president raised the debt more than any president in the history of this country.
Right. And we don't help Ukraine. Now, you're talking about open borders. What the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Right.
Where do you think is going to happen? That means that we're not protecting. NATO is together so that we don't get, war declared on any member of NATO.
Correct.
If we let Putin just out there fucking going through Ukraine. Where is he going next? Poland? Like, he's just gonna march on through and just give me whatever he wants. And then that shows everyone, all other rogue nations, that they can do the same.
That's exactly right. And that's the that's the roadmap that he would be providing. He'd be like, oh, America's not going to do shit about Ukraine. Well, then fuck, the rest of them are going to be easy.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And nobody understands this is why we have to. America is supposed to be the superpower. Like, we are supposed to help other countries in need. Do we do a great job with some countries? We do not.
Correct.
But this right here with Putin, we know Putin's a threat. We can't let Putin just walk on by. Like, that's ridiculous.
There are so many complexities, especially internationally, that there is no playbook on how to do everything perfect and right. There, no, regardless of who the president is, Democrat, Republican, whatever. But this stance, like, this is wrong, this is right. I mean, there's a lot of gray areas, but on this Ukraine thing, it's pretty clear that being part of NATO, obviously, and not even being the country GDP wise that spends the most amount of money, is we do have some skin in the game in this thing. And it is important that we are behind Ukraine. And it's funny too, these idiots who keep saying this, in order for that money to go to Ukraine, it's got to be passed through Congress. Joe Biden just doesn't sit in his fucking office and go, hey, here's another check for Ukraine. And they go look around and go, what the fuck just happened? How come they're getting another $1 billion?
That part, it has to go. Just like the Maui money, right? Where is that? Where do they think that came from? It had to go through Congress first.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and like she made the point with FEMA, they try to make it look like, well, why are you only giving $700? Because that's the max you can give. So they're using.
And who else done that? Because I've never heard of it. I never heard of another president. I don't think Trump gave Puerto Ricans.
I don't think so either. And that might be the case
somewhere too. I don't even I thought Trump was withholding Puerto Rico's money for some reason because he felt like they were going to misuse it because they were like Puerto Rican. Like,
well, it's certainly. I mean, certainly he was. We remember the first perfect phone call to Ukraine, and how he was basically, not threatening, but he was bribing, the Ukrainian president. But it's just so crazy. It makes no sense. And that's why I said, I think that's where we get exhausted. I'm fine if you want to beat up on Democrats, you want to beat up on Joe Biden, but do it for something where you go kind of, shit, they're right.
Right. The way he pulled out of Afghanistan, it's
wasn't great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I honestly think it was fine because you just had to pull the Band-Aid off of that one. Like, there's never going to be a good way to pull out of a war that you've been in for like decades. It is impossible to plan it. So it just had to be done. And they already knew that he was going to be criticized for it, and he just did it.
Well, the other thing that just drives me crazy about that, it was Trump's fucking plan. He just, he extended the date, the original date they were supposed to pull out. Biden extended it to give a little bit more time. And then the date came, and then it was an agreement that was already made. It's like that story. I don't remember all the details, but remember the money Obama gave to Iran in the middle of the night, the 700 million, whatever. That was something that was already made by George W. A plan made by George W. Bush that had to be done.
Right. They're like, oh my God, Obama's sending secret money to China. I don't know. It's like whatever they're saying, like making shit up. The pizza parlor that has the babies that the Hillary is drinking the blood.
I don't know. I don't know how you live through life like that and feel comfortable. But speaking of comfortable, or let's just say uncomfortable, we're going to wrap up the show here. And last week we left you with a very cringe-worthy clip. I've got another one, Lana, that is going to...
Somebody's dancing?
I'm going to give you one that is maybe on the same level. And I'm going to let you choose between, was it this one or the one you saw last week that was more cringy? I'll tell you who this is after we watch the clip. And This is a woman who is at one of those weird young Republican
Yes,
rallies.
I'm so glad we're watching this.
You know what it is already?
Oh yeah, I know
All
what it
right.
is. I didn't seen her, and I've seen memes of her.
Yep. All right. If you hate cringe, just subscribe and subscribe, and then get the hell out of here, because here it comes.
Like here, cheers.
Right. Here you go. Pleasure you have. Okay, so you know who that is?
I don't know who she is. I think you told me, or somebody on the Twitter feed.
I'm going to tell you who she is.
Republican lawmaker.
Her name is Kat Cammack, and she represents District 3 in this great state of Florida. Do you want to take a guess what district I live in?
Hers.
That is correct. That is my representative. That's my Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is the representative of our district, which, by the way, in our county votes blue in nearly every election because we're a college town. So, but we have representation like Kat Cammack somehow winning because of gerrymandering, which, did you hear this Mark Elias guy? Do you know who he is?
Yes, I follow him. I love him.
Dude is a bad ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think people, especially even Democrats and liberals, understand how incredible this dude is.
The work he puts in. I don't, but go ahead.
He's an amazing attorney. And basically what he does is he is all over the country looking at things that just are not fair and things that are illegal. And he is destroying. So far, they're going around, and in there was 6 or 7 different states he named: Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Alabama, New York. All of these redistricting, the gerrymandering that they've done in these states, he said were illegal. You could not do it. Right. You know, that's the difference. Is they're going, you know, people would be like, oh, the Democrats just had the lines redrawn. No, they had it redrawn fairly and not illegally. The Republicans were doing it illegally, and that's why they won so many. They can win so many of these House seats.
Right.
But it appears as if there's going to be a lot of changes, and hopefully before the next election. And from my understanding,
Alabama not change. Is it Alabama that was supposed to be?
That's one of them. Yeah,
and they're not doing it.
They're ignoring it. Yeah, pretty much is what they said. And you know, it's a in that one, I think there's a black district that they're basically, you know, saying we're making sure this never goes, you know, their way. And Mark Elias is fighting very hard, and he is pretty positive that all these will be resolved by the next election. And that could open up a lot of House seats, which we all know how incredibly important that is going to be. Because if Donald Trump or even any of those clowns that we are going to watch tomorrow night somehow pull off the election, you know, if we can render them listless vessels, by the way. Do you know that term? Have you heard that term?
Not together.
That's what Ron DeSantis recently called Donald Trump supporters. Now,
he sure did.
Listless vessels is his deplorables, but I think, God, I hate saying this because it's kind of mean, but I don't know if the MAGA world kind of put together exactly what listless vessel means.
I mean, when I hear that word, I think of Ron DeSantis. Like,
right. Well, he's the one who called the MAGA people listless vessels. Yeah.
But that's exactly what he is.
That is true too. That is absolutely correct. He really is.
So weird.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so important to vote, everybody. Get out here and vote. If we can just, we say this every time, but if we could get the presidency and we can keep that Senate and get the House.
Yep.
The things that we can pass. School loans, I guess that's not going to work, but maybe he can do something. Voting Rights Act. Like, there's so much that can
Lana, there's a million things. And really what they need to focus on, the things that they've been focusing on for years. And then they also have to make sure that we set up the laws in this country to where anything like what Donald Trump did over these last 4 years makes it impossible for you to not even run for president, but you know, the consequences must be dire.
And we need some more justices, honestly. We need the cops by row. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we can't do it unless we have all the chambers.
I mean, we could talk forever again about the Supreme Court and all the nonsense going on with them too.
Unbelievable. Who the fuck wrote these rules? Who gives one Supreme Court justices a lifetime seat, one, and then two, like, there's no real ethics and accountability. Like, you made these people God.
There's no ethics whatsoever, and it makes absolutely no sense. And if these were, you know, we could play this game all day, but if these were, you know, Democratic judges, I mean, literally the people with their gun supply would be getting everything ready. I mean, they would just be going insane. But because Democrats aren't as nuts, they'll scream about it. Nothing can be done about it unless, like you said, Lana, you vote. I'd like to see 52, you know, Senate seats, 51, you know, with Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin may not even be there next year. But anyway, let's hour and a half. Good job. Let's wrap up the show.
Oh my God. Is it really?
Yeah. That's what happens when you sit here and have fun. And make fun of people that need to be made fun of.
We need clips because people were watching this show. They're like, oh my God, these two can talk.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be busy breaking the clips up tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
It's going to take a little while. But before we go, join Lana on Thursday night on her show, on the Quest Show. And you can see, you can follow her on Twitter. I had your Twitter up there, but I put the banner up there.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got plenty of Twitter followers, right? But join her on Thursday night. I also Run's House podcast has now turned into the Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest podcast. So I am going to release that now. This is, you know, we have the show, and I'm going to take the audio and make that the podcast.
Yes.
So you'll get to hear more of Lana, which I'm sure everybody is going to be thrilled about. And we will be back again on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And obviously, please subscribe, like the videos. And if you have any comments, we don't care what they say. You can't offend me. You can say the nastiest thing in the world. I don't really care.
Yeah, we don't
say whatever you want. So
exactly. It's the great First Amendment.
Yeah. First Amendment. Absolutely. So say what you want. And hopefully we see you guys back again next Tuesday. Thank you, Lana.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.